Definitely do want to bring more Tyrannifexes in, even though they sucked in this game. But you have to say that you have to admit those strength 10 hits are really good at a range for taking down vehicles, whereas the Desiccator and the other stuff just doesn't really do the trick. And they did pop that Dreadnought, and in my last game with them, they did pop a Necron vehicle just like that. So, you know, even though their Bliss is skill 3, it's two shots on hitting on 4+. Once you hit, you're strength 10, so it's pretty easy to do some damage there. Profanity72 says, did Grey Knight's Matt use his grand strategy? Either re-rolling ones or counterattack would be helpful. He did. He re-rolled ones a lot of times. He might not have seen it all the time in the video. Vichy Sois says, hey Matt, you might want to double check the multi-assault rules, ergo that Terminator multi-assault. I think they have to try and get into assault with the target unit, and if they fail, they can assault something else as long as they stay in coherency. I think it is to try and stop people assaulting 2+ units that are miles apart by stringing out your troops. I don't have my rule book with me, so I can't give you a page number. Sorry. You're correct. He did do it wrong, as he was doing it, I'm like, he's doing it wrong, but I don't really care because even if he did it right, he still would have been able to get a guy into multi-assault, so I didn't bother doing anything about it. But you are right. You need to stay in coherency, and guys need to try to get into base contact. If they can't get into base contact, then they're free to multi-assault. Joko12 says, if Doom of Malantai loses the combat by 2 against the Terminator, he doesn't take 2 wounds automatically. He is allowed to make his saves. I said he takes 2 wounds automatically. That doesn't mean he doesn't get to roll saves when I say that. So when I say something takes a wound automatically, that doesn't mean he doesn't get to take a save. So just to clarify that. Grendel, if I remember correctly, according to the FAQ, the Lash Whips bring them down to initiative 1, but they still get their +2 initiative from their halberds. We did do that wrong in that one combat. Didn't end up making too much of a difference. I think I only killed 1 Terminator from that. But yeah, you're right. The halberds still give them extra initiative. And Grendel says again, also I'm not sure, but I think you get a perils on a rolls of 12+. Either that or my Eldar buddy has been cheating me when I fail Psychic. Your opponent would take perils at 350 and 356. That's an Eldar thing, actually. Eldar thing is they have to roll 3 dice and they take a perils on any 12+. With these Shadow and the Warp, you roll 3 dice and you only get perils on any double 6 or any double 1. Just to clarify that. Maverick1605, when the Doom lost the wound against the Terminator, did you guys take a leadership test for the Doom? Nemesis Force weapons have the Demon Bane rule, which means that any Psyker or Demon that suffered an unsaved wound from one of these weapons must take a leadership test. If they fail, then they are removed as a casualty. The weapons do not need to be activated to have this effect. I didn't see any rolls made, but they might not have been made through editing. I did not make those rolls. I was not aware of that rule. I guess in some cases it's up to my opponent to really know all their special rules because I can't possibly know everybody else's. So no, we didn't do that. So that's something that the other Matthew will need to keep in mind for next time. Stink Spirit said, I could be wrong about this, but it seemed like your Tyrannifex only took 3 wounds, so he should have 3 wounds left. He took 3 wounds from failing his 2+ save. That's what you saw. There was 2 rending hits in there as well that when he rolled the wound, there was 2 6s. So those were put aside, and then there was a bunch of wounds, and I rolled my 2+ save, and I failed 3 of them. So that's 5 wounds in total. So that's why there was 5. Philomillipede says, did you only fire the Thorax Swarm on that Tyrannifex? Because as a monstrous creature, it could fire 2 weapons, and the Thorax Swarm can be fired in addition to any other weapons. We did. Might not have always shown it, but we did. Bugsley, wow, that's lame that Swarm Lord doesn't have Eternal Warrior. Not trying to point anything wrong, except what's in the rules. I agree. I absolutely agree. It drives me crazy that all these other things get Eternal Warrior that shouldn't have them. Like Nurglings have Eternal Warrior because they're demons. Like and a character that costs 280 points that is in his fluff, always keeps coming back and can never be killed, does not have Eternal Warrior. That goes for Old One-Eye too. I think all Hive Tyrants should have Eternal Warrior just because of the nature of a Hive Tyrant, but I can understand not giving all Hive Tyrants. I can even understand not giving Carnifexes or Turvagons, that's fine. But the Swarm Lord, Old One-Eye, should definitely have Eternal Warrior. Maybe even the Doom of Malantai, but that might be a little broken rules-wise, because he's already pretty broken as it is. But I just mean fluff-wise. All in, sir. Matt, quick note, don't think it would have affected much, but per the Codex, if they are striking at different initiative orders, as just about every Grey Knight squad should, they take the Force Weapon Psychic test after the first unsaved wound is caused. You are correct, and that wasn't the way it was done. Kefka Darkstar, shocking. To table Grey Knights is like eating tacos and not having gas in the end. I realized there was no rule that was wrong, but I had to put that one in. Civic Duty says, and look who wins, again. Nothing against what anything Matt did or the other guy, but watching unreasonably lucky rolls makes me want to go play other more balanced games. Maybe I'll invest in a War Machine. Now, I agree. It's frustrating for your opponent. It was kind of fun for me, but it's frustrating for him to see all those rolls keep getting made. But I don't think it's a 40K problem. It's a dice problem. I played a War Machine game where it was ridiculous. It was a battle report where he managed to kill my caster in turn 2 or turn 1, I can't remember, because he couldn't roll anything less than 6s and 5s. So he was rolling 3 dice. He would get. I remember actually adding it up, and his average on 3 dice didn't go below 15. Okay, he was 654 was his worst one, and then he was getting 655, 665, 666, 654, 645, and we're talking for about 12 rolls in a row. And then there was one roll where he only got to use 2d6, and he needed a double 6 in order to do a wound, and he rolled a double 6. And so in that game, he actually wrecked my caster. I should have beaten him, thrashed him thoroughly, because he was in a bad position because of the chance he took to try to kill my caster. But because he rolled 12 times, 3 dice, we're talking, if you calculate the probability of what he did, it is incredibly low. So I hate to tell you, but any game that uses dice will have situations where your opponent or you get ridiculous luck throughout a good portion of the game, or at least at critical moments. But I do agree, it does make the game a little less interesting, but at the same time, it makes it exciting to see the comeback. Because the Grey Knights, I'll tell you right now, the only reason I won was because of dice. There's no way I would have won that game otherwise. I was completely outmatched, outgunned, out-muscled in every way. The Grey Knights should have just cleaned up, but that Doom Malantine making all those rolls, sucking the brains out of so many guys, was just ridiculous. He was like the army. The whole army was the Doom Malantine. Everything else sucked. There was one successful assault from the Gene Stealers. Other than that, everything else just died, just shooting in close combat. So yeah, I agree. Grey Knight should have won based on dice rolls, or based on tactics and army composition and everything else. But, you know, that just shows you when you have dice rolls, you can throw tactics at the window sometime. You just got to understand that games will be random, and that's part of the fun, is that you never quite know what the situation is going to be. Cuzzy says, correct me if I'm wrong, but I didn't see the Doom make any instinctive behavior rolls, as he is not a synapse creature and has instinctive behavior feed. You are correct. There was only one time that would have mattered, and that was close to the end. And the only reason it would have mattered is because he fired his psychic power. Otherwise, he would have just charged the nearest thing anyway. But I did miss that one. For the rest of the game, he was mostly in combat. In fact, I think he was pretty much always in combat for the rest of the game, except for that last turn that he moved towards the Terminators, then fired his psychic thing. Now, most likely it would have made a difference. His leadership is 10, so it's hard to fail that. I Ren Like Crazy says, Matt completely forgot about Preferred Enemy and Furious Charge benefits from the Swarm Lord. I didn't. I just didn't mention them. Salamander says, why don't you guys make a mini wargaming app? That would be awesome, and you could make more money. This has nothing to do with the game, but I wanted to put that in there because I've seen other people suggest that, and my answer to that is, what would the app do? Well, leave your suggestions below, as well as all your other responses to everything I've said, and you can be kind or you can be mean, whatever you want. I will not have my feelings too hurt. Anyways, this is long enough for rules you got wrong. Hope that you enjoyed this. Leave a comment below what you think. Leave a comment below what you think our mini wargaming app should be if we did develop one. And happy wargaming.